Hello, everyone. This is Melina and
Jordan.
we are the board certified BAes.
BAes.
Oh, welcome back. How you feeling?
Like what I did there?
Yeah. How you feeling?
I'm feeling great. I'm feeling grand.
That's good. It's almost your birthday.
You just stop counting after time.
I don't.
Yeah, no, you don't.
Anyways.
So how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good.
Looking all windbreakery.
Yeah, it was windy this week. So, got to bring out the windbreaker.
That once in a year type event.
Yeah. It's okay if it's hot wind, but
Is it?
Yeah, I think. But yeah, it's been good. Excited for the holidays to come around.
Aren't you always?
Yeah,
like even in July, so it doesn't even matter when we're filming this.
Especially with 2 kids now and one being like aware.
Sure.
I think it's gonna be a lot of fun this year.
Yeah, I give you that. Yeah.
Okay.
But you've been preparing for this since last year.
Uh-huh.
So
yeah,
doesn't really matter. Again,
I'm gonna see if she can convince you to bring out the tree early.
Why?
Anyways, let's get into
Why?
it. What are we talking about today?
Behavior change.
Ooh,
Seeing
behavior
I said that. Are you ready for the question?
No.
Okay.
So Jordan, what's a behavior chain?
So a behavior chain is a series of behaviors that go into a larger completion of a big behavior, right? So they act as both the response and the reinforcement for the previous behavior. So if you are making a sandwich, you have to get the bread, you got to open the bread, right? Completing the first task of getting the bread reinforces you for completing that task, and then also is the cue to start the next behavior, which is to get a piece of bread out, and then so on and so forth, to get this knife, to get the peanut butter, the jelly, so on and so forth. And then at the end of all of that, which is called making a sandwich, you get to eat that thing. Right? And so that is a behavior chain. There's a bunch of there's a series of behaviors that have to be completed in somewhat of a particular order in order to complete the task. Which is, and the task itself is considered to be the larger behavior behind it, right? And that is different from an everyday discrete trial or just a single response, because there are a lot of little responses inside that one big behavior, right? We talk about washing hands, we talk about going to the potty. Any daily living skill usually requires, a behavior chain in which we then use a task analysis to help complete.
Those are fun.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Anything you'd like to add to that description? Make it simpler?
No. I think
Make it more complex?
No, I think you hit it pretty well. I just started thinking of different examples of behavior chains, both that are like preferred or, appropriate,
Sure.
and some that maybe aren't.
Sure. What's one of those examples?
Of like appropriate or not?
Which one do you want to share?
Okay, I'll do one that's like not appropriate. So sometimes behavior chains, yeah, they're like that. But then sometimes behavior chains develop over time because we don't realize that, or parents don't realize that, or teachers don't realize that they're reinforcing something that is larger than just a one behavior. Does that make sense? Did I make that more confusing?
A little bit of both. Might make sense to me, but okay, I don't know about everybody else.
So let me go ahead and give an example. So like, for example, I have a student that we work with, and we're doing like a simple block imitation, right? Block imitation goal. So from the outside looking in, if you don't know this kid, if you haven't done this with him before, you see him, the staff is going, build this, kiddo builds it, then gets really like, yay, right? And then knocks it down. And then we start again. So for a lot of staff that are new to him, it looks like reinforcement. But for me, I know this kid and I've seen it happen way too many times with too many people. And I'm like, I think there's a chain going on. So now instead of just doing the imitation of the block building, it's like this whole chain that's been created. It's building the blocks, Yay, knocking it down. So then I was almost like, wait, let's see what happens if we just have, the block building, knock it down, or sorry, don't knock it down, give a token and say, good job, move on. Big behavior happened because without realizing it, we were reinforcing this whole chain of behavior rather than just the expectation of imitating building the blocks.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Sure does.
Okay.
I love that example. It
Thank you.
makes it all make sense, and hopefully it makes sense to everybody that's listening
Mm-hmm.
or
Do you
watching.
have any examples of like maybe how it's kind of been more of like a not a great behavior chain that's been created that you've been kind of like wanting to
Yeah.
break?
So one of them is there was a kiddo that I was working with, and we were helping to teach him to make his own order at like a restaurant or a fast food restaurant. It didn't matter which one because we were working on generalization. But the prompting became a part of the behavior chain. So I made the mistake of maybe I think where I went wrong is the type of prompt that I had the staff use. And then it created dependence. So therefore, like this prompt was now in the behavior chain, which we needed to get it out in order for the kiddo to be successful. Because when we weren't present, nobody else was presenting that prompt, right?
So
So
then it's not generalized.
yeah. So that's what made it kind of hard. Thankfully, we were able to, and it was good. But that was just a mistake on our part. Of I think the type of prompt that we used was the issue. If I chose a different prompt, I think it would have been a little bit different or easier to fade that back out. But that's the important part too. Is when you're teaching that task analysis and breaking down those behavior chains, we do need to be able to pinpoint where things are wrong. And if you think of like all the like a chain, so all these links together, right? We got to be able to find which link is bad and not the one that we want to have there, and then replace it with the right stuff. And we can always do that, but we have to be open to it. And to that point too, I think that there's a piece of it where when we're looking at these behavior chains, we don't sometimes we don't look back enough,
Yeah.
right? Like we look at just the behavior, right? Just like, oh yeah, there's a sequential like order. Okay, good. We're done. But then if you take a step back and look at the links that came right before, right after the chain, like those are sometimes still a part of it, and they happen the same way all the time, which might not be the most appropriate ones. And I remember talking to staff so many times, I was like, yes, but if you take a step back from where you are right now, and you'll see that the way that we lead into this or what triggers this to happen is not appropriate. So we have to go back and like work on those triggering aspects first. And I say triggering in not the way to mean like it's a like problematic term in any way. I just mean triggering is like it's the clear point where it switches into going down this road.
Yeah.
And so I've had those conversations quite a bit with some of my staff members. Especially those that are trying to be BCBAs, because look, they did it. That's amazing. I was like, yes, it's so great that they have those skills. What are we going to do about the skills that we accidentally or inadvertently taught that led to this?
Yeah.
Because those are still present. It's just that you're only counting from, minute one and not second zero.
Yeah. And I think it kind of like goes into that realm of like the difference between behavior chains and chaining itself. I know we've kind of talked about how like chaining is a little bit more structured. There's intention behind it. And although I think behavior chains can be in like structured, sometimes they kind of just end up happening, right? So I don't know if you want to kind of further talk about that, like the difference of behavior chains versus chaining itself.
Yeah, so like when you're talking about chaining, like so a behavior chain is all it's one large behavior that has to be completed with all these little parts in between, all these little links, right? When we talk about chaining, we're putting those links together, right? So we're maybe pulling from behaviors that we've already taught or from other places or things, and generalizing them in the new place to create a new chain. And it both are very important and very useful. But sometimes we have to teach things in isolation and then add them in later, and that's where the chaining comes in. And so, I mean, that's that simplistic view of chaining, and you can definitely get a lot deeper than that. but I don't know if I want to dive that far
Yeah,
into that
maybe
one, and might
another
take us too
episode.
far off topic. But you know, but, and on the test for those that are studying, you do need to know the difference, because there are going to be times where that's going to come up on the test. Granted, you were given one of those questions because they have a really big pool of questions to give you.
Yeah.
So, did that answer it?
Mm-hmm.
Anything you want to add?
Nope. I think that was great.
All right, cool. So when we talk about creating a task analysis to do a behavior chain,
Mm.
where do you typically start? How do you get to that point?
A task analysis, like
Yeah,
putting
like
one together.
when you're looking at a behavior chain and you're like,
Uh-huh.
okay, we need to help our kiddo with this. Where do you typically start?
I think now, I actually think I kind of learned this from you, but like doing the whole
Me?
going through the action, then I like try to write it all down, and then I might even watch like a YouTube video of someone doing it, and then seeing if I missed anything. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Because I think I got that from you, because I was like, I think when I first became a BCBA, it was like, I feel like this should be simpler, but I feel like I'm missing steps. Like, I think it was like tying shoes or something. And so I think that is the advice that you gave me. And I was like, so that's been helpful to like do it myself, then double check it by either having staff do it or like watching someone else do it on like a YouTube video or something like that, and being like, okay, did I miss anything? And then sometimes I'll even just go over and double check, like triple check someone else, like I'll Google like steps to blah blah blah, and seeing if I like again missed anything, or maybe if I worded anything that was like a little confusing. Yeah.
No, I think that's good. It is really important to kind of fact check yourself by doing it first.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to get stuck in there like, oh well, this part's wrong and this part's wrong and this part's wrong, and all of a sudden you're like, I got all these goals that I'm going to work on to try and get this right. But it's like, well, do you need all those? Do you need to work on all of them at once?
Right. No.
Right.
Yeah, right.
That's where the task analysis comes in, of like, which one are you choosing? Are you going to choose total task? Are you going to choose backwards or
sometimes
forwards
backward
chain?
is easier than total, or forward. So it definitely differs or depends on the child.
So
right, sometimes starting, I hear what you're saying now, like starting at the end can be more reinforcing for a kid, so maybe sometimes we need to start there, which like with tying shoes.
yeah, that's always my one.
Yeah.
I think I've corrupted everybody. They think of tying shoes as using backward chaining for tying shoes, so they get the reinforcement right away.
Yep.
So for those that are listening and they might not be aware, what is a total task?
So essentially doing every single step, right?
Are you asking me?
Yeah, I always get nervous. Like,
why? You know all this. You teach so many stuff.
I know, but it's different when I'm like in my element of teaching, like the people that I'm with every day, like my girls, versus
when we actually get more males in this field. What are you gonna say then? My peeps?
my homies.
No, you won't. I do not see you saying that.
I'll probably still be like, I don't know.
I don't see you saying that at all.
I don't know what I would call them. I'd just be like my friends. I don't know, but they're not like, it's not like friends. It's just like these are they're like my, I don't know, little siblings / children / cousins / aunties / sisters. I don't know. They're all the above. So my work familia. Anyways, so when I'm talking to them, I feel like I have like not all of them necessarily I'm like super close with, but I feel like I have enough rapport where it feels natural in the way that we like, I learn how to talk to them, how to teach them. I know each BI, DI, BT, whatever you want to call them, RBT. I know each one and how they learn, right? Or I have to learn that. So it's easier for me to adjust, pivot, teach them how I know that they learn best. With this, it's hard because we don't see you guys face to face. So I could be talking to someone that thinks like you and that learns like you, or someone that learns like me. It's tricky because then I get nervous because I'm like, is that confusing? And like I double check everything I'm saying because I'm more of like a personable person where like I make that connection based on who I'm talking to. Does that make sense?
So pitch one of your stuff.
But which one? That's the thing.
Whichever one you like to talk to. I don't know.
I like a lot of them.
I
Okay.
know. So yes, that is a total task. You teach the whole thing and you provide assistance
Sorry,
where
it
the
was a long
client
story. But
needs
you
or
have.
staff needs help. So then what is forward chaining?
Forward chaining is like one step at a time.
Well, they're all one step at a time.
No,
That's what
but like
the
forward.
chaining
Sorry.
task analysis.
Forward.
Okay, this is funny.
Oh, it's getting worse and worse.
So
And then backwards, you start at the last step, and then you work your way. So then you start at the second to last step. Then you start at the third to last step, and then you start at.
I know you know all this and you got it.
know.
You can
I
give all
just-
the
I
examples.
just get sweaty and nervous because like you're the mentor, and I feel like I'm the mentee, and now it's like
No, we're on equal playing fields.
I don't think so.
Yes, so total task, as to your point, is you teach all of it at once and you just provide the help when you need help. So if there's a 10-step chain and they know steps 3 through 7, then you're going to work on 1, 2, and 8, 9, 10 when you're helping them. Forward chaining is you teach them the first step and then you do the rest until they can get the first step down. And then you add a second step and then third step and the fourth step. And then
See, you just say it so confidently. That's the thing. It's like I'm like, yes. You could be like saying the wrong thing. I'm like, yes. Because
why?
you make it sound so believable.
Just because we're married and you always just want to believe me?
No.
Because I know that's not true.
No, it's just like you sound so like comfy when you say it. I'm not comfy when I
This
talk
is
about
what we
it.
do all day. I love
know.
the science
I
behind
do
us.
too, but I just get nervous when I'm like, I don't know if it's you or if it's
Them?
y'all, but I just get nervous and sweaty. A windbreaker was a bad decision today.
That's funny. Okay, so then the last one's backward chaining.
Uh-huh.
And backward chaining is that you teach the last step first. And then the second to last.
That's what I
and the
said.
third
That's
last.
exactly what I said.
I know.
That one I feel like made the most sense.
Yeah. So I use backward chaining a lot with
Tie your shoes. Yep.
Yeah. Get them to pull that thing tight and then go and play.
Yeah.
It's a lot faster than first you're going to do this one and then I'm going to do all these other ones afterwards.
Yeah.
The reinforcement comes too late, in my opinion. But that's just me, and I'm 1 BCBA out of, 70,000 now? Something like that. I don't know. Don't know the number. But do you feel like we covered a behavior chain pretty well?
I think so, but you guys can tell us in the comments below.
You just always wanted to say that? Yeah. Next, you're going to say there's a subscribe button somewhere?
Yeah. Push subscribe and follow. I don't even know if I'm pointing at the right things.
We don't ever ask anybody to do that.
I know. Well, subscribe and follow, y'all.
Well, there's the other thing too, the little bell.
Alert. Turn on the alert. Is that what it is?
I think so. I don't know.
We got to get all the vernacular correct for YouTube, but oh well. Anyways, thank you guys for joining us, sharing with us.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in this funny, banter and learning session.
Yes.
Because that was there.
Yes. Have a good one, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah. Bye, guys.